To get into the inner circle of the Hells Angels, you don't just fill out an application, you pay in blood. But in 2003, ATF Undercover Agent Jay Dobyns found himself staring down a lethal deadline. The Angels suspected he was a rat. To prove his loyalty and earn his full patch, the club handed him an ultimatum: execute a member of their fiercest rivals, the Mongols, and bring back proof. If he refused, he'd end up in a shallow desert grave. If he agreed, he'd have to pull off the most dangerous, high-stakes fake execution in FBI history, knowing that a single misplaced drop of blood would mean his immediate death. This is the terrifying, true story of Operation Black Biscuit, a psychological tightrope that pushed one man to the absolute edge of sanity. Stories like these require weeks of deep-dive research to bring to light. If you want to make sure the algorithm keeps feeding you these deep dives into the world's most dangerous subcultures, hit that like button right now, drop a comment with your thoughts on Outlaw codes, and share this video with someone who loves true crime. Your support keeps this channel alive. In 2001, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives launched Operation Black Biscuit. The goal was unprecedented: completely infiltrate the highly insular, brutally protective Arizona chapters of the Hells Angels. Enter Jay Dobyns. On the street, he was Jaybird, a towering, heavily tattooed, muscle-bound debt collector and gun runner with a violent temper and a hair-trigger attitude. But behind the leather vest and the cold stare, Jay was a family man. Every single morning, he would look at his wife and kids, knowing that if his phone buzzed or a single detail slipped, he would never see them again. Hells Angels operate on a rigid corporate structure masked by outlaw chaos. To even look at a full patch member, you start as a hangaround. Do enough dirty work and you become a prospect. Jaybird was a prospect, but the pressure inside the club was reaching a boiling point. A massive, deadly riot between the Hells Angels and the Mongols at the Harrah's Casino in Laughlin had left 3 bikers dead, and a nationwide gang war exploding. The Angels needed soldiers they could trust with their lives. And they were starting to look very, very closely at Jaybird. Trust in the outlaw world isn't built on words, it's built on shared criminality. The club leaders, including the legendary Sonny Barger, were fiercely paranoid. Informants were popping up everywhere, and the Arizona chapter suspected they had a leak. One night, Jaybird was pulled into a private room by high-ranking club enforcers. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and unspoken violence. They dropped a photo on the table. It was a fully patched member of the Mongols, the Hells Angels' mortal enemies. The order was simple: eliminate him. Bring us his vest, his club patch, and undeniable proof that he is breathing his last breath. Jay's stomach dropped. As a federal agent, he was legally and morally forbidden from committing murder or even allowing a real crime of that magnitude to take place. If he backed out, his cover was blown instantly. The Angels would realize he was a Fed, and in their world, Feds don't get arrested, they disappear. Jay had less than 48 hours to design a flawless murder scene that could fool the most street-smart, hyper-paranoid criminals on Earth. The ATF went into hyperdrive. They tracked down a cooperative Mongol member who agreed to play the victim in exchange for a massive payout and federal protection. In the dead of night, in a secluded desert ditch outside Phoenix, the ultimate theater production began. Forensic specialists used real Hollywood-grade makeup and animal blood sourced from a local slaughterhouse. They painted a simulated gruesome close-range shotgun blast across the target's chest. They splattered blood across the desert brush, meticulously calculating the spray pattern to match high-velocity impact. The victim lay in the dirt, eyes rolled back, covered in flies and congealing blood. Jay took out a disposable camera. Flash. He captured the gruesome image from multiple angles. Then he sliced the prized Mongol patch off the victim's heavy leather vest, the ultimate trophy in the biker underworld. With the bloody vest wrapped in a trash bag and the raw film in his pocket, Jay drove back to the Hells Angels clubhouse. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. If the forensic experts missed a single detail, if the blood looked too bright, if the bullet hole looked unnatural, or if the Angels decided to drive out to verify the body before the feds could clear the scene, Jay was a dead man walking. Jay slammed the bloody Mongol vest down onto the table in front of the club's leadership. He tossed the developed photos down beside it. The room went dead silent. The enforcers picked up the photos, squinting at the details. They inspected the blood on the leather. For 2 agonizing minutes, nobody said a word. Then the tension broke. The chapter president smiled, clapped Jay on the back, and welcomed him into the elite brotherhood. Jaybird had done the impossible. He was awarded his full patch, the holy grail of the outlaw motorcycle world. He was now an untouchable inside one of the most exclusive criminal syndicates on Earth. But the victory was hollow. The operation wrapped up shortly after, leading to 16 major indictments of high-ranking members on charges ranging from murder to racketeering. But the psychological cost to Jay Dobyns was absolute. He had spent nearly 2 years living, breathing and thinking like a monster to catch monsters. He had stood over a fake corpse and lied to men who considered him a brother. When the dust settled, the Hells Angels put a massive contract out on his life. His family had to go into hiding, his house was later burned to the ground in a suspected arson attack, and Jay was left with a permanent psychological scar. He had survived the inner circle, but a piece of Jaybird never truly left that desert road.